Have you ever wondered how much time humanity truly occupies in the history of the universe? Not in thousands of years, but in relation to the whole. Imagine condensing the 13.8 billion years of the cosmos into a single year of 365 days. What would happen to our history in this symbolic calendar? Prepare yourself. It would fit into just a few seconds before midnight on December 31st. This perspective changes everything. It makes it clear that the universe doesn't revolve around us. In fact, we're newcomers, appearing after almost everything had already happened. The scale of cosmic time reveals not only how small we are, but how rare we are. Because, even arriving late, we were able to look up at the stars and question our origin. In this video, you'll follow a universal timeline that begins with the Big Bang. We'll go through the formation of galaxies, the Milky Way, the solar system, Earth, and life, until we reach the species that now holds a phone and wonders about all of this. Each event will be placed in its proper month, day, and even second in the cosmic calendar. If you love science, love looking up at the sky and feeling the weight of mystery, this journey will mark you. Because understanding the time of the universe is also understanding our own brevity and our value within something much greater than ourselves. When we look at the 13.8 billion years that make up the history of the universe, everything seems immensely distant, almost abstract. To make this more understandable, scientists created a brilliant analogy, the cosmic calendar. In this calendar, the entire history of the universe is condensed into a single year. January marks the Big Bang, and the last second of December 31st represents the present moment. This resource transforms the immensity of time into something visual and tangible. On this symbolic scale, each month equals about 1.15 billion years. A single day represents approximately 37.8 million years, while 1 second corresponds to 438 years. It sounds absurd, but that's exactly what makes the calendar so powerful. By reorganizing cosmic events this way, we can perceive not only the sequence, but also the speed at which certain events occurred. This type of comparison helps us better understand complex concepts like cosmic time and universal timeline. After all, it's not easy to imagine billions of years passing. Our brain is more accustomed to birthday calendars and packed schedules than to geological eras. The most striking thing is realizing that everything we call civilization occupies only brief seconds of this cosmic year. We are young, almost newcomers in an ancient and vast universe. And this raises an inevitable question. If the entire history of the universe can be told in a single year, what in fact does our existence represent in this gigantic story? Now that you understand the rules of this temporal game, let's begin our journey. And it starts explosively. Everything begins on January 1st at midnight with the Big Bang. At this moment, time, space, and matter are created almost instantaneously. The universe is still dark and chaotic. During the first 3 days of the cosmic year, there are no stars, planets, or galaxies. Just a dense sea of particles spreading rapidly through newly born space. Only after millions of years do the first stars begin to emerge. In mid-March, one of these regions organizes itself to form the Milky Way, our galaxy. It isn't born ready, but is sculpted over time, uniting clouds of gas, cosmic dust, and intense gravitational fields. Everything is still very violent, full of collisions and stellar explosions. As the months advance, new stars emerge and die in continuous cycles. With each supernova, chemical elements essential for life are released. We then reach the end of August. On August 31st, our sun is finally born, a young star, but with potential to sustain an entire system of planets. Up to this point, 8 months have passed of an expanding universe, where Earth didn't even exist. It's curious to think that the solar system appears only in the final moments of August. All the vastness before served as a stage for cosmic experiments. Galaxies merged, black holes formed, and the universe kept refining itself. But the stage for life had not yet been set. This epic construction would begin in the next days of September, when Earth enters the scene. And so we enter the month that would change everything. Right at the beginning of September, on September 2nd, Earth emerges. It doesn't appear gently. It's formed from incandescent debris colliding with each other, generating heat and instability. The following day, a catastrophic impact occurs with an object the size of Mars. From this violent collision, the Moon is born, forming rapidly from the debris that orbited the planet. Between September 13th and 20th, Earth is the target of an intense late heavy bombardment. Asteroids loaded with ice collide with the planet, bringing with them compounds that would be essential to life. It's likely that Earth's water came from this period, an unexpected gift from the cosmos. Conditions are still inhospitable, but the scenario is taking shape. On September 20th, a transformative milestone happens. The first single-celled organisms emerge. Simple, invisible to the naked eye, but incredibly adaptable. They don't just survive, they multiply and dominate the primitive oceans. These microorganisms represent the beginning of life on Earth. It's incredible to think that the first signs of biological life emerge in September, but billions of years still remain until something appears that walks, thinks, or speaks. At this moment, the planet is a giant laboratory. Volcanoes, acidic seas, electrical storms, and there, in the middle of all that, small cells begin to completely transform the world. But life doesn't stop there. It has even bigger plans for the coming months. Over time, life becomes more complex. At the end of October, sexual reproduction emerges. Now, there's gene mixing, which accelerates diversity and biological evolution. The first eukaryotes appear, more complex cells with a defined nucleus. During this period, Earth also goes through a super ice age. The planet freezes almost completely. It's the so-called snowball Earth, where ice reaches even tropical regions. Even under these extreme conditions, life persists. In deep marine environments and hydrothermal vents, primitive forms resist and continue evolving. It's through this process of resistance and adaptation that the first multicellular beings emerge. At the end of November, more elaborate organisms begin to appear. Rudimentary plants, primitive marine animals, and even complex algae. Earth transforms from an almost sterile planet into a world where biodiversity begins to spread. By this time, photosynthesis is already modifying the atmosphere. Oxygen begins to accumulate in the oceans and in the air. This prepares the way for future explosions of life, but also generates mass extinctions. Life now needs to learn to deal with a constantly changing planet, and December promises even more radical transformations. And so we arrive at the busiest month of the cosmic calendar. On December 12th, the Cryogenian Ice Age occurs, one of the most severe in history. But it's on the 16th that everything changes with the Cambrian explosion. In a matter of days, an astonishing variety of life forms emerges. Insects, amphibians, reptiles, and trees appear between the 21st and 23rd. On December 24th, the planet suffers the largest mass extinction on record. Caused by intense episodes of volcanism, it eliminates most living species. But right the next day, December 25th, dinosaurs emerge with force. They dominate Earth for entire days in the symbolic calendar, which represents millions of years in reality. On the morning of December 30th, an asteroid collides with Earth, marking the end of the dinosaurs. This event opens space for a new era. On December 31st, around noon, aquatic mammals like whales emerge. At 2 p.m., the first primates appear, and starting at 7:30 p.m., the world begins to look more like what we know. At 10:30 p.m., Australopithecines emerge, direct ancestors of Homo sapiens. At 11:45 p.m., we finally appear. At 11:58 p.m., we're already creating cave art. And in the last 13 seconds, all of human civilization history happens. Agriculture, metals, empires, wars, science, internet. All of this in the blink of an eye. But what does this really mean for us? When we place the history of humanity in the last 13 seconds of the cosmic year, something transforms in how we see time. The entire legacy of kings, wars, religions, and revolutions fits into an interval so short, it's almost imperceptible. Our entire civilization emerged on the eve of the universe's new year. This doesn't diminish us. On the contrary, it reveals how much we are a rare and extraordinary phenomenon within an immense scale of existence. An entire human life, on average, represents a cosmic blink of an eye. We live about 80 years, which in this symbolic calendar barely fills an instant. But even in this short time, we're capable of loving, learning, creating art, developing science, and modifying the planet. Brevity doesn't cancel out value, it intensifies it. Like lightning that tears through the sky, it's the intensity of the moment that makes it memorable. And we're not here by chance. We are the result of an unbroken line of life that began on September 20th of the cosmic calendar, with single-celled organisms challenging turbulent oceans. Each ancestor overcame unthinkable challenges so that today we'd be here, looking up at the sky and asking, where did we come from? We are the product of billions of years of adaptations, of choices that nature itself made, often at the limit of survival. This cosmic perspective shouldn't frighten us, but liberate us. If our existence is so recent and fleeting, then each moment matters. And perhaps, by recognizing our temporal smallness, we find our true greatness. The capacity to have consciousness, to look at the universe and seek meaning. Time is immense, but consciousness is rare. And it's this rarity that makes our brief passage so valuable. Faced with a universe that has existed for almost 14 billion years, it's hard not to feel small. But perhaps the most surprising thing is realizing that even being so brief on this timeline, we leave deep marks. In a matter of cosmic seconds, we transformed landscapes, created languages, machines, theories, and began to decipher the universe itself. That's not insignificant. Every atom in our body was once in a star. Every water molecule we drink has already traveled through primitive oceans. We are, in fact, made of the same material that forms galaxies. But we are also something more. Consciousness. A rare spark capable of looking back, understanding the past, and imagining possible futures. This makes us not just spectators, but active participants in the great cosmic story. And by understanding the brevity of human life through this lens, we gain a strange and beautiful clarity. The time we have matters, not because it's long, but because it's unique. The history of the universe brought us here as if each stage had been carefully orchestrated. The volcanism, the ice ages, the mass extinctions. Everything prepared the stage for something that now breathes, thinks, and creates. What you do with this is the next question. What kind of legacy do you want to leave on this universal timeline? What ideas, choices, or discoveries can you offer back to this cosmos that created you? If these questions make you reflect, you're in the right place. Subscribe to the channel, activate notifications, and keep traveling with us through this story that, deep down, is also yours.